Hi guys, I'm sure by now you would have heard that there are a few upcoming launches in River Valley that's situated very near to Great World MRT, which is where I'm currently at. But I think some of you might still be confused as to how many launches are there in total, where are they situated, what are the pros and cons of each development, and etc. Fret not, as I'll be guiding you through all 6 potential launches in the area. Just make sure you watch to the end to avoid making the wrong choice. Alright, let's go! First of all, here is a quick overview of all the upcoming launches in River Valley. On the rightmost, we have the Robertson Opus. It is the only 999-year project to be redeveloped by phrases from the existing Robertson Walk, which I'm sure some of you might have fond memories of. Next, there is RiverGreen, which will be developed by 𝗰𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗲 with 524 units, and it comes with this longish land plot that is running parallel with the Trillium. Third, we have Promenade Peak to be developed by 𝗁𝗃𝗀𝗃 with 596 units, sitting in between Zion Road and Kim Seng Road. Right next to it, we have 𝗁𝗁𝗃𝗀 with the biggest land plot to be developed by CDL, and it is the first and only development to feature long stay service apartments. Launching next year, we have the River Valley Green Parcel B land plot that is successfully bidded by 𝗂𝗂𝗀 Land and sitting very nicely above the Singapore River. Finally, we have River Valley Green Parcel C, which is currently still a reserve site which has not been activated for sale yet. With that, let me walk you through all these developments with our in-house IPA framework. In case you are not familiar, I use my IPA framework to guide my clients in evaluating a development holistically based on these 5 factors. Number 1, location and amenities. Number 2, facilities and quality. Number 3, demand versus supply in the area. Number 4, pricing versus surrounding developments. And finally, layout. And an overall score will be given at the end. Feel free to check out my previous video at the top right hand corner to see how I use the IPA framework to evaluate a project like 𝗦𝗵𝗻𝗄𝗃. By the way, I've also compiled a list of all the balanced new launch inventory with their respective price range. If you would like to have a copy of the PDF, just click on the link in the description below and I'll be happy to send it across. Before we zoom into the specifics of each development, let's first take a look at what's so special about River Valley. And for that, we have to understand the history of the area. Geographically, the Singapore River was seen as a valley between Fort Canning Hill to the north and Perth Hill to the south. As a result, the roads on either bank of the Singapore River were named River Valley Road, one of which was renamed to Havelock Road subsequently. Situated on higher ground above the Singapore River, River Valley naturally attracted wealthy European and Chinese merchants in the past. Fast forward to today, it remains as a prime district favoured by many locals and foreigners. In terms of connectivity, River Valley is also surrounded by 3 MRT stations, namely Great World, Havelock and Fort Canning MRT. And what I really like about this area is the fact that there's a good mixture of your everyday necessities at Great World City Mall, to cheaper local fares at the Zion Riverside Food Centre, to the trendy and vibrant shops at New Baru, as well as up-class restaurants and bars along Robertson Quay. You also get to enjoy your evening walks along the Singapore River, which leads all the way to Marina Bay. It is an area where you really look forward to getting home every day and spending time hanging out in your neighbourhood over the weekends. So for me to differentiate and score the various developments is like picking bones from eggs, or 𝗬𝗏 in Chinese. But that's my job, so here we go. Let's first look at my favourite, and that is the River Valley Green Parcel B plot. Why I feel it has the best location is because it has the widest frontage along Kim Seng Park and the Singapore River, and hence residents will get to enjoy a very nice, serene and scenic view. It is close to the amenities like Great World City Mall and Zion Riverside Hawker, and it has direct connection to Great World MRT. It also falls under District 9 core central region as opposed to the Zion Road plots. Hence, I'm going to give it a pretty high score of 9.5 out of 10. However, it will likely come with the highest price tag as well. Next, RiverGreen is similar to Parcel B in many aspects, whereby it is situated in a more peaceful environment away from the main roads and close to amenities and MRT, but it lacks the Singapore River view. So I'm going to score it slightly lower at 9 out of 10. Parcel C is also similar to the previous 2, but this plot is sandwiched between Parcel B and the existing 𝗂𝗏𝗃𝗃, and hence I give it a slightly lower score of 8.5 out of 10. Coming to 𝗁𝗁𝗃𝗀𝗃, it is still close to all the amenities and has direct connection to Havelock MRT, but it is surrounded by a few major roads, and hence it is a different kind of vibes altogether compared to the previous plots. To me, it's not a big point, but 𝗁𝗁𝗃𝗃 is classified under District 3, rest of Central Region instead of District 9. On balance, I'll give it a score of 8 out of 10. Next, we have Promenade Peak, which is very similar to 𝗂𝗂𝗀𝗀, except it has no direct connection to the MRT. You have to either cross the road to go to the Great World MRT, or you got to walk along the perimeter of 𝗂𝗂𝗀𝗀 to reach Havelock MRT. For that, I'll give it a score of 7.5 out of 10. Finally, we have the Robertson Opus, which has a nice environment along Robertson Quay, but it's still about 5 minutes walk to Fort Canning MRT and further away from the amenities at the Great World area. On balance, I'll give it a score of 7.5 as well. So, here is the summary of my scoring at one glance. I hope you have found the above information useful so far. If so, I would really appreciate if you can help me by clicking on the like button and subscribing to my channel. And of course, if you feel it's easier to reach out to me for more information regarding the projects, feel free to contact me on WhatsApp at 94515625 and I'll be happy to explain further. Alright, back to the video. Coming to facilities and quality, let's look through the project information of each development, starting from the Robertson Opus since we ended off from there in the earlier section. As mentioned earlier, it will be redeveloped by Frasers into a mixed development with 348 mid-rise residential units and a podium block with 26 commercial units. Designed by well-established ADDP architects, the courtyard at the center of the development is generously open and visible from the Singapore River Promenade. Expect lots of greenery on the rooftop and building facade as well. However, there will be no tennis court in this development. In terms of unit mix, there will be 65% of 1 and 2 bathers versus 35% of 3 and 4 bathers, which is still considered acceptable. The good thing is there is a provision of 80% parking lots for residents, which should be more than enough. Next, let's take a look at Promenade Peak. At 63 stories tall, it will definitely be one of the most iconic buildings in the area. Developed by All Green, it will come with a single block of 596 units, enjoy breathtaking views from the function room and infinity pool at the roof level, the gym on the level 43, as well as a 50 meter slab pool and pickleball court on level 1. The focus of the project is on livability, especially with the bigger floor plates in the 3 to 5 bathers, which constitutes 33% of units in the development. The 1 and 2 bathers form the remaining 67%. However, because Promenade Peak is situated in a car light zone, there's only about 31% of parking lots available. That will be a concern to me if I drive, as I'll be competing with many big families that likely will be driving too. I'll be summarizing everything soon, but let's take a look at the next development first. RiverGreen will be developed by 𝗰𝗵𝗃𝗃, and again it comes with only one block with 524 units and 36 stories. Given that it is a shorter development, this means that there will be more units per level, 15 to be exact. The good thing is it comes with full condo facilities including a tennis court. Coming to the unit mix, you can see that the focus of RiverGreen is on affordability, with the unit sizes being kept very compact. The 1 and 2 bathers also constitute 73% of the entire development. I would expect the profile of buyers for this development to be more investment-centric and hence likely for more units to be tenanted. Hence, parking at 50% provision shouldn't be an issue. Before you start to get confused, I've summarized all the important information here. Robertson Opus has the lowest density amongst all, that is highest land area per unit, comes with 80% car park ratio, and has the most healthy small to big units proportion. However, it doesn't come with a tennis court. Regardless, I'm still going to give it 8 out of 10. Next, my main concern with Promenade Peak is its very high density and very low car park ratio, which doesn't seem to correlate with their target market of bigger and more wealthy families looking for own stay. Because of that, I'm only going to give it a score of 6 out of 10. Coming to RiverGreen, I'm also equally concerned with the high percentage of 1 and 2 bathers as well as the very compact unit sizes, which will in turn affect the profile and demographics of residents staying in the development. Well, at least I think the developer is clear that they want to go with the affordability route, which is a selling point on its own. On balance, I'm going to give it a score of 7 out of 10. For 𝗂𝗂𝗀𝗀 and River Valley Green Parcel B, we don't have much information yet, so I'm going to leave it ungraded for now. Given that there are so many options and permutations, it is easy to make the wrong decision. For example, if you're looking at the 1 and 2 bathers, I feel Project A might make more sense. If you're looking at 3 and 4 bathers, then Project B might make more sense. Even within project A or B, there are also different facing, layouts and pricing to consider. Hence, it is very important to engage someone who is experienced to analyze clearly and objectively. If you're looking for a more in-depth discussion, feel free to reach out to me at 9451-5625 and we can discuss further. Coming to demand versus supply, just a quick recap for the people who are seeing this for the first time. I'm using the demand ratio, which is the transaction volume in the last 1 year, divided by the number of listings that are currently on sale to measure how strong the demand is. Next, I shortlisted the following developments that are within a 500 meter radius of Great World MRT with at least 300 units for comparison. With that in place, I tabulated the overall demand ratio for the 3 bidders first. On first look, the demand doesn't seem very strong with a demand ratio of only 41% across all developments. However, on closer look, I feel that many buyers are reluctantly being priced out. Due to the huge floor area, you can see that many of the 3-bedroom listings have a large quantum of 3.5 to 5.5 million. Naturally, the pool of buyers that is able to afford such high quantum is smaller to begin with, hence reflecting a weaker demand ratio. With a more attractive price quantum from the newer developments that have more efficient layouts, I feel that we will see more demand coming in from the HDB, EC and private property upgraders who have profited significantly from their current homes in the OCR or RCR and are aspiring to move to a more upclass location. We will also see demand from parents looking to enroll their kids in River Valley Primary School. We will likely also see high net worth families who are used to staying in core regions and are looking for newer developments. And finally, we will see demand coming in from investors looking for opportunities due to the small price gap between CCR versus RCR and OCR, which I'll explain more in the pricing section. For the 2 bidders, unfortunately the demand ratio is even lower compared to the 3 bidders, which translates to a pretty low score of only 1. However, we can see that the main culprit here is 𝗹𝗶𝗀𝗃 Residences, having obtained TOP not too long ago, and presumably with many investors buyers looking to make the flip, there is still quite a huge number of listings in the market. Many of the remaining listings are asking 3,000 PSF and above, which is comparable or might even be higher compared to the upcoming launches which are GFA harmonized. I believe that's a key reason contributing to the weak demand at 𝗹𝗶𝗃. If I were to strip it out, the demand ratio actually looks a lot better. For the smaller 1 and 2 bidders, I believe the demand will come mainly from singles and dinks who have done relatively well in their careers and would like to enjoy a lifestyle and status that is commensurate with their earning power. It will also attract investors looking for a strong rental yield. As you can see here, the average rental for 2 bidders at Martin Modern, which is not even near the MRT, is at $6,800, which translates to a gross rental yield of more than 3.5%. Likewise, we will see demand coming in from investors looking for opportunities due to the small price gap right now. On balance, I'll give a demand score of 3 out of 5. Coming to the supply side, I'm using the supply ratio, which is the number of listings that are currently on sale divided by the total number of units in the development to measure the extent of supply. In this case, the lower the supply ratio, the better, as it will indicate that there's lesser competition in the market. For the 3 bidders, the overall supply ratio looks pretty decent at only 5.3%. However, for the 2 bidders, the supply ratio looks pretty high at 11%. Again, we can see 𝗹𝗶𝗃 Residences contributing quite a huge number. Most likely, we will see the numbers coming down before they become direct competitors to the current launches when they TOP 4 years later. In this regard, I would like to highlight that none of the existing developments here have direct access to the MRT, which should give the upcoming launches with direct connection to the MRT an edge in the resale market. However, we also have to be wary of the injection of a huge number of supply when all the upcoming launches obtain TOP few years down the road. Will there be enough demand to absorb all this supply? It remains to be seen. Hence, I'm only going to give a supply score of 3 out of 5, which means a combined demand and supply score of 6 out of 10. Before we zoom into the pricing of each project and how they compare with the surrounding developments, let me first explain why I feel there's massive opportunity in the core central region right now. And that's because we are seeing a narrowing price gap between the CCR and the other regions. For the past 5 years since the pandemic, due to work from home arrangements, buyers have mostly opted for larger and more affordable housing in the outskirts. This caused demand and hence prices of developments in the OCR and RCR to increase drastically.
On the other hand, prices in the CCR remained relatively stagnant due to the fall in demand from both locals and foreigners that are affected by the latest 60% ABSD measure. As a result, this caused the price gap between the CCR and RCR to narrow significantly to only 18% as at the end of 2024, which is at its lowest level in the last 25 years. However, this hasn't always been the case. Back in 2006 to 2012, the price gap was as high as 50 to 90%. Going forward, if the en bloc of some of these CCR developments go through at their respective reserve prices, we can expect future CCR launches to hit 3,500 PSF and above. Hence, I strongly feel that there's a massive long-term repricing potential in the CCR when the price gap widens again. So if today you're able to enter at a price point that is below the CCR average of 3,100 PSF, which is already undervalued, and at a price point that is extremely close to RCR's pricing, don't you think that it is very safe? As the video is getting long and we don't have all the information regarding the indicative pricing and floor plans for each development yet, I will continue the rest of the evaluation in part 2 of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our Happy Homes Property YouTube channel to avoid missing out on the latest content. However, if you'd like to have more first-hand information or my advice on which development and unit to go for, feel free to reach out to me at 9451-5625 and I'll be happy to advise further. Once again, I'm Sean and I'll see you soon in the next video.